Hey guys, Disco here, and today I'm checking out the Hound Master PTB in Dead by Daylight. I don't know anything about this. I have seen a few other YouTubers' titles, but that's it. And basically, the titles I remember was Scott Johns was very unimpressed with the killer. There was someone else who said that his title was saying that the killer was a great concept, but not a terrible execution. Just kind of stuff like that. So that has me a little perplexed. And then Orange told me that the killer is more like is simpler than some of the other killers for him. In his opinion, so that makes me feel a little bit better because the killers he finds simpler are usually killers I find simpler. So that's cool. But yeah, let's do this. This is like one of the few times where I'd rather be doing Dead by Daylight than anything else. I rage quit so hard earlier. I need a break, and a better way than to film myself playing a new Dead by Daylight PTB, right? Always nice. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot about this one, but I'm very, very excited. I'm sure Orange knows more about than I do, since Orange can't play, he hasn't been able to play PTPs in a while. I believe he's watched, like, other YouTubers play the characters at least a little bit. I'm not sure how much, but I believe he does a little bit, so that's cool. But since I can, I always try to. I think there's only been one PTB I missed so far, but that was just due to a busy schedule. And while my schedule is still pretty busy, I managed to find a little bit of time to do this. So that's cool. So yeah, I'm very, very excited. Oh, that's cool. That's well, my laptop is having all kinds of problems. But that's okay. Oh, so that's just saying the PTV stuff. Oh, this is before, because I finished leveling up Bubba, like earlier today, so that's interesting. Oh yeah, they mentioned this, that like the chapter things here, like this Castlevania chapter thing would be here. And then they mentioned, so like that stuff like that would be here alongside the characters, and that's the, so there's their new, there's the new portraits. Those look really cool. I really like those portraits so far. So why don't we start with the survivor? So that's just a list of the stuff, because I feel like the killer's going to be more involved, and that's a bit more interesting. Still one of my favorite Fang skins. I'm so happy to have it. Anyways. So we got Tari Kane. Tari Kane was raised as a disciple of the Black Talon, condemned to be a sacrifice. I don't really know what that means. For personal perk invocation, treacherous crows, clean break, and shoulder the burden allows her to reveal the killer's aura, heal after being broken. and take on another survivor's hook state. Like, it sounds not bad, but just... Oh, that's
Give
actually...
me a chance. I would be your most loyal servant.
Kind of dig the voice, but I really like the outfit, honestly. They, what was her name? Tari looks really cool. I'm very excited for this chapter. Tari looks awesome. Let's go to customization and create the stuff about her stuff. Let's cut the Vodi. The more she learned about the Black Talon, the more she aspired to be its servant. Because I'm assuming that has something to maybe do with the killer, but I'm not sure. Black Talon robe, her superiors knew she was special, and often sent her on unique missions. I kind of like her animations. She seems fun. Streaked sweats. Her loyalty was unwavering, and she was sure she would be rewarded for it. Not thwarted for it, that doesn't make sense. Loadout, so it's a font, or actually if we do it this way, you can see the final effects, right? Invocation treasures, crows, very rare. Glory Cane perk. One was arcane knowledge. Has no reason. Has no reason to fear those watchful birds. When in the basement near the circle, press the ability button 2 to begin the invocation. Invocations take 60 seconds. Others arrive to see your aura during this and join an ongoing interaction. Once the invocation is completed, you become injured and gain the broken status effect for the rest of the trial. When a survivor is in the terrace and the killer scares the crowd, their aura is revealed to all survivors for 2 seconds. Completing the invocation disables the perk while it survives. Broken prevents survivors from being killed. Remember your training. They taught you all about the crows. Tori King. I'm really excited for the outfits here with Tori. Because of how cool they look already, and I see a lot of I just want to say that I see a lot of outfit potential with Tori so far. I haven't seen the killer yet, but Tori here, I see, obviously here's my first impressions. But Tori here, like I like the mask, that's interesting. I like the design quite a bit, so I'm very excited to see other outfits for this character. It's always something that I like about all characters, is just seeing like what cool outfits they get as time goes on and whatnot. Clean break. At the end of the day, everyone has to look out for themselves. After you finish healing another survivor while being healed by another survivor, press the ability button 1 to gain the broken status effect. After 60 seconds, you become healthy. This perk does not activate if you are already broken. The effect is cancelled if you're on dying state. Broken friends survivors being healed. I'll be fine. Does take your neck out for me further. I will say, when I read the patch note before this, I was very confused about Clean Break. It didn't make any sense to me because I think I was reading it wrong. For some reason, in-game, the perk makes more sense to me. Because the way I was reading it before was that you would become broken, but then not get, like, healed. Like, someone would heal you, and then you'd just be broken. But no, this makes more sense to me now. That, like, you heal... That, like, when you are being healed by someone else, you gain broken, but then you become healthy anyways. That makes a bit more sense to me, honestly. I'm still not entirely sure how useful this perk would be. Still a little not unsure about that, but it makes more sense now. Shoulder the burden. Born to be a disciple, ready to submit to a greater cause. This is your calling. Once per trial, as long as you are not in deathlock, press the ability button 2 in front of a hook survivor to unhook them. When they are unhooked, they lose 1 hook state and you gain 1 hook state. You also scream and gain the exposed status effect for 20 seconds. Exposed survivors will be down by basic attacks even if uninjured. It is not your time yet, now go on. She's got some cool, like, little poses. So now I'll read her backstory, and then we're gonna jump on over to the Houndmaster. And then I'll finish this off by reading the Houndmaster's perks and all that, and then we'll read, like, the little thing about the map. Tori Kane. Tori Kane was born and raised in a suburb outside Glasgow. So older brother Ewan, I don't know. Unusual for Scotland. Interesting. The kids were homeschooled, but but by all appearance, seemed perfectly average. In truth, they were quite the opposite. Her parents were part of a secret society, and Tari and Ewan were raised to be acolytes of that same clandestine cult. Of course. The Disciples of the Black Talon. This mysterious cabal has existed for centuries and worships an ancient deity that exists in another dimension. They call the deity the Black Talon and believe it is somehow helping humanity transcend mortal existence. Vincent Kane was a professor of archaeology. Rachel Kane taught anthropology. Family vacations took them all over the world, but instead of theme parks, they visited the historical sites of ancient civilizations, like the site of the world's oldest megaliths at, I don't really know how to pronounce that, Göbekli, I don't know, Tepe in Turkey, where ancient cultists boiled the flesh off decapitated heads and carved mysterious symbols into the skulls. That's disturbing. Locations like this had areas that overlapped with the Black Talon's realm, and they called those overlaps the Bleed and believed secret knowledge and technology is hidden by ascended disciples from advanced worlds to be discovered. But the Bleed holds many dangers, both physical and psychological, and those who venture inside wear special armored hazmat suits as a defense against those perils through, though no one really knows how much protection they actually provide. The Disciples of the Black Talon built an underground complex near each Bleed they discovered, complete with living quarters, storage areas, and laboratories. When Vincent Kane enters the Bleed at Göbekli Tepe, Tari and Ewan were mere fledglings, and when he didn't return, his wife went after him and disappeared as well. Desperate to find their parents, Tari and Ewan snuck into a chamber, but soon realized there were no hazmat suits left. There was only one of the original suits, like an old diving suit, with a connecting air tube which didn't fit her, but she refused to abandon her parents and decided to enter the Bleed without a suit. Ewan was too afraid to follow. Tari found madness in the Bleed and savagery and horror, blood-curdling shrieks and ferocious growls, and something slithering in and out of the shadows. She could feel the eyes of predators as they hunted her in this strange, timeless place. Our two realities folded into one. Struggling to keep her fear under control, she came across pieces of a bloody hazmat suit. She found the body, just hunks of hair, chunks of flesh, and steaming viscera. 100 feet away, she located her father, his suit intact but unconscious. She struggled to drag him away even as predators stalked her from the shadows. As they circled closer, her brother Ewan suddenly appeared in the old oversized hazmat suit. He led the otherworldly creatures away, allowing Tari enough time to pull their father to safety. When the screams of her brother still ringing in her ears, she emerged unscathed with her sanity intact, which amazed the Disciples of the Black Talon. Her father eventually recovered from his injuries, but never again ventured into the Bleed. Tari suffered no ill effects from her time in the Bleed, at least nothing physical, but something dark touched her heart, and she had many recurring visions of selfless disciples hunting and sacrificing victims to the Black Talon. She believed her visions were omens, and she was certain she would one day serve the Black Talons in the same way as a disciple. Members of the cult rose through the ranks slowly. Secrets were doled out little by little as acolytes graduated from one tier to the next. Tari rose faster than most and was sent on missions all over the world. She located and retrieved many arcane antiquities and strange oddities, and with each new find, she unearthed more knowledge about the Black Talon. And each time she ventured into the Bleed, she felt more of its cold darkness taking hold inside of her. She liked the way it made her feel, impervious, indestructible, unstoppable as a trusted servant of the Black Talon. She no longer felt like prey, she felt like a predator. Why are these always so long? Why? Okay, I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's so much text. I've been here for 14 minutes. I haven't even gotten to the killer yet, although Tari has quite the backstory already. Tari was single-minded in her pursuit of any knowledge that would help her serve the cult, but not everyone believed in transcendence, and some were even trying to expose the disciples of the Black Town as a force for evil. Such doomsayers didn't understand that sacrifices needed to be made if humanity ever hoped to ascend to another plane of existence. One such enemy was a paranormal investigator and podcaster who claimed the cult was an instrument of malevolence. This vlogger was determined to unmask them, but she disappeared while investigating a World War II bunker high in the French Alps. Her brother Jordan blamed the disciples of the Black Talon for her disappearance and worked tirelessly to expose them to the world. I wonder who these people were. Like, I wonder if there are people either already in the game or maybe someone who might potentially be in the game as like a skin or something. That'd be kind of interesting. As Tori reached the highest level of the disciples of the Black Talon, she learned their darkest secrets, like how they appeared. Appease the Black Talon was a sacred ritual of torture and sacrifice before entering the bleed. Jordan discovered one such ritual was to take place at the grand opening of a new quantum research facility and secretly taped it. He then posted the grisly video online to show the world the malignant evil at the heart of the cult. But the disciples of the Black Town had connections everywhere, and they used their power to convince the world that this video was a fake, a mere prank among researchers and scientists. They then sent Tari to hunt Jordan down and end this one-man crusade against them. They told her if she accomplished this, she would ascend to the inner circle of masters and one day become a pure disciple of the Black Town's domain. Unquestionably, it was fanatic determination. She located Jordan and rendered him unconscious with chloroform. When he awoke, he found himself tied to a chair in an underground complex. Dressed in her ceremonial robe and mask, Tari approached a young man with a dagger, but having never killed anyone, she hesitated. She didn't know what to say or do. A strange numbness began to crawl up her neck, her ears, her face, her lips began to tingle. She just stood there staring blankly at her sacrifice, wondering what was happening to her. Killing was easier in her dreams and her visions. As a spectator, and try as she did, she could not stop her hands from trembling. And just when the masters were about to intervene, she took a deep, calming breath and remembered the sacrifice would usher her into the Black Talon's domain, where she would take a rightful place among the other disciples. And so, with renewed conviction, Tari lifted the ceremonial dagger with both hands, and just before she could plunge the glistening blade into the non-believer's chest, a cold black fog surrounded them. Everything was black. Time seemed to stand still. She heard muffled sounds and felt pressure in her ears as though she were in the bleed. When at last the fog cleared, her sacrifice was gone, and she found herself in a place of perpetual night. The Black Talon's domain, not as a disciple, but as a sacrifice. That's the backstory, huh? That is wild. I guess that also explains why it says was raised as a disciple, condemned to be a sacrifice. I guess that explains that. Really cool picture though. I wonder if that's supposed to be like, I wonder what that is supposed to be exactly. Because she has this, I'm assuming that's the ceremonial mask and she's in the robes and stuff. She doesn't seem to have the dagger. But okay. I definitely want to see kind of her oh, that's cool. Just kind of chilling at the fire. As much as I love looking at Bubba, that's not who we're here to see. That's so weird, seeing Freddy disabled. That's so weird. Yeah, I have him in the full, I'm one of the few with a fully prestige Freddy, which is crazy to think about. And then, oh yeah, Skull Merchant was also disabled, and I just really like this skin, this deep rift skin, so. The Hound Master. The Hound Master is a force to be feared, was an equally fearsome dog at her side. Her personal perks, All Shaking Thunder, Scourge Hook, Jagged Compass, and No Quarter, help her increase her lunge attack distance, create Scourge Hooks, and overwhelm survivors with healing skill checks.
This should be fast.
I want to see. Oh, that's cool. It's like a bulldog. It's like a black bulldog. That's cool. Interesting design. Not fully complaining. It's pretty cool, but it's very interesting. The Face of Revenge. Marooned on a mysterious island, she narrowed her eyes to the horizon, planning her revenge. Captain's Longcoat. She terrorized freeboaters across the Caribbean for decades, desperate to satisfy her bloodlust. Deadly Cane. Her desire for revenge went unfulfilled as her father's killer disappeared into darkness. Interesting. Well, dominance. Power. Scent of, power. Scent of blood. I should just throw the dog a bone sometimes. That's cool. Or whatever. With the Houndmaster and her dog operate as one. Her commands are followed without question or delay. Special ability, Chase. The Chase command sends the dog out at high speed, pressing the power button against redirects the chase, pivoting the dog's path. When the dog catches a survivor, the dog starts a grab. The survivor becomes hindered and is pulled toward the Houndmaster. The survivor can get free by stunning the dog or can be rescued by another survivor. The grab set ends without injury, leave the survivor hindered. The grab duration is shorter for survivors with the endured status effect. Special ability, Search. The Search command... Of course the cane is also a sword. Of course there's a sword in the cane. Of course. Special ability, Search. Oh, that is weird that there's now just a floating hand petting the dog and then it falls. What is happening right now? The search command sends the dog to a targeted location, creating a search path. It has its own lullaby, and as it moves, the hound's sense radius rises over distance traveled. Survivors who enter the radius are affected by hound sense and revealed by killer instinct. The Houndmaster follows in the dog's search path. She gains increased movement speed over time, moving the search path ends the bonus movement speed. Special effect, Hound Sense. Healthy survivors affected by Hound Sense receive deep wounds. When injured survivors affected by Hound Sense suffer from moderate grunts of pain and larger pools of blood when put into the dying state. And then we got... Oh yeah, that's right, they are back here. So she's a 4.6 meter second speed killer with a 32 meter chase and then average height. All shaking thunder. Enemies on land and sea learn to tremble before your might. After you fall from a height, your launch attack distance is increased to 75% for 16 seconds, as quick as a 5-second cooldown. Go on, run. Tell your friends I'm coming for them. Portia May. Scourge Huck Jagged Compass. Sometimes the compass points north, other times it points somewhere else entirely. At the start of the trial, if the 4 random hooks are changing its Scourge Hooks, you see the aura white. You see the aura is white. When a survivor is unhooked from a hook, it becomes a Scourge Hook. When you hook a survivor on a Scourge Hook, the aura of the generator with the most brightest revealed in yellow for 10 seconds. Drop anchor, I will chart us a new course. Portia May, no quarter. Every skirmish ended with a relentless volley of cannon fire, leaving no doubt who was superior. When a survivor reaches 75% healing progress while self-healing, they are faced with continuous skill checks. If one of these skill checks is missed or the heal is interrupted, the survivor suffers from the broken status effect for 30 seconds. Broken prevents survivors from being healed. Fire another broadside. Don't stop until the sea takes them. Portia May. And then I definitely want to see the Mori real quick, so I see that. Okay, geez, so the dog just eats you. Okay, that's very cool. That feels like a Mortal Kombat fatality a little bit. That's cool. The Houndmaster. Portia May's father helped found a prosperous settlement of sailors and merchants on an uncharted island in the Caribbean. They called their port town Fortune and created a vast trading network which exposed Portia to the cultures and knowledge from around the world. As a sailor and lover of stories, Portia's father read her the Arabian Nights, Shakespeare, and Greek mythology, and he instructed her in sailing and celestial navigation. To be sure, he instilled within her love for adventure so that she would always want to travel with him. Once she accompanied her father on a trip to Italy, where he traded sugar and silver for rare silks and spices. There, they also acquired a litter of Corso puppies, which her father said they would train as hunting dogs for Fortune's yearly hunting games. He also mentioned she could keep the strongest of the litters for her upcoming 12th birthday. She named the pups Caesar, King, Shaw, Athena, and the runt of the bunch, Snug. But before she could begin their training, a violent storm pushed Night's Dream off course into an area controlled by freebooters. Desperately, her father tried to steer the ship to safety, but the dreaded Mad Moloch attacked them with his ships and took Night's Dream quickly. Those who survived the initial attack were pitted against each other in vicious fights that Moloch and his crew would wager on. The brigand promised that the last man standing would be let go. When Portia's father refused to participate, the most vicious of Moloch's men, his son Tariq, tortured him for hours and finally slit his throat. Keeping Portia alive to get past fortune's outer defenses, Moloch and Tariq returned to their sloop and left a skeleton crew on Night's Dream. Portia would lead them into fortune, and once inside, Moloch and his raiders would attack, pillage, and burn their beloved town to the ground. Using her skills in celestial navigation, Portia led them off course through an area that many claim to be cursed, known as the Dragon's Tooth. Some believe the area bled into the dark, malignant domain of some ineffable evil where monsters drowned. Portia hoped to lead Moloch to his doom, and if she could perish in the effort, so be it. As she approached the Dragon's Tooth, dark clouds accumulated, and a dark black frog surrounded them. Sheets of rain fell and a fierce wind rose down on the ship, creating black mountains that crashed over the mast. Instantly, Moloch and his ship turned away from the storm and left her to perish, but Portia refused to surrender as Night's Dream plowed through the thick fog and lightning. Her heart thundered in her chest as the ship creaked and groaned and slowly capsized. The last thing she saw before the ocean swallowed her whole was the silhouette of a giant tentacle crushing down on them. Portia opened her blurry eyes to see Snug staring down at her. He licked her face and barked for her to get up. Blinking the salt water out of her eyes, she pushed her aching and bruised body from the ground and collapsed onto the strange purple sand. She had never seen anything like it before. With difficulty, she gathered herself, stood, and turned to face the rump. Snug barked twice and began sniffing the ground, leading her to a cluster of coconuts and purple seaweed. She dried out the seaweed, cracked the coconuts, and ate on the rocks, quietly listening to creatures she had never heard before, and suddenly realized they were marooned on an island in the Dragon's Tooth. They were in a strange world, and in between worlds, a world her father had once described as a living nightmare that tortured the mind and played with the heart. And as she listened to these strange new sounds, she suddenly saw Moloch everywhere. Instinctively, Portia closed her eyes and shrieked, and only stopped and Snug jumped into her lap, returning her to the moment of her Sunday attacks. Over the years, Portia survived on whatever washed ashore as she battled the predators that stalked the island. Ferocious animals, vicious humans, and savage abominations not of this world. Snug now weighed over 100 pounds and followed Portia everywhere. Together they made a daunting pair, and most of the survivors on the island kept their distance. The few who didn't lived to regret it if they lived at all. And just when she was about to give up on the idea, escaping, she spotted an impossible thing. While searching the island for Snug, through this way she saw a nice stream drifting ashore in the cold black fog. She knew better than to doubt or question anything on this island. Was a whistle. She entered the water, but was suddenly attacked by a group of castaways. In her mind, she slaughtered Moloch 50 times and spared only those she needed to crew her ship. Together, they spent days searching for Snug, but he was nowhere to be found. He was gone. Gone as if he had never been, as if he had only been a figment of her imagination. For decades, Portia terrorized the Caribbean as she searched for Moloch. She only attacked freebooters, taking their gold and torturing them sadistically to satiate some intangible darkness living within her, a darkness like a parasite that demanded blood until it had its fill. On the occasions Portia couldn't appease its hunger, the parasite would squeeze her mind with its deadly talons, crushing reason and reality until she would see Moloch's face on every crew member. She would attack and butcher everyone and anyone until one of her many trusted guard dogs begged for her to stop, and Molak would suddenly dematerialize in the wisp with black fog. Terrified, the crew knew it was just a matter of time before her mind was turned against them. And so even when they finally located Molak, they conspired to meanly. They had underestimated their captain. By the time Portia went through with them, there were only 5 left standing in a pool of blood and gore. They instantly threw themselves on her mercy as their dogs surrounded them for the kill command that never came. Destroying Molak would take more hands than she possessed. Getting her wits, she ordered the Mooniers to clean up the deck and feed her dogs as she steered Nightstream toward Mad Box Island. Molak himself was out on the high seas, but Portia's crew captured Tariq and locked him up in preparation for his father's return. When Molak returned, he found the island deserted apart from a woman offering chests of gold and jewels. She claimed she wanted to join Molak's crew and had prepared an amazing feast for him and his men. Not recognizing her, Molak accepted the treasure and asked about Tariq. She smiled and assured him his son would be joining them for dinner. Portia served Molak an elaborate meal as he drank and ate with gusto. The meat was especially good, roasted crisp and black on the outside and pink and juicy on the inside. He wanted to know if it was wild boar or venison. Portia smiled, stood proudly, and reached over the table and lifted a golden food cover to reveal Tariq's decapitated glazed head frozen in a scream of terror and mouth vomiting bullion and jewel scrolls. Molak roared his anguish like a wounded bull, and she reveled in his torment as a fake black fog rose from the floor like a black veil, but before she could strike Molak down, something unseen jerked him backward into darkness. At once her laughter died, lips curled with mingled panic and rage. Veins in her neck stood out in livid ridges. Talons gripped her mind and squeezed her and refused to let go. He was gone. Gone. Gone before she could stomp his head into a bloody pulp. Unintelligible words foamed out of her mouth and degenerated into a guttural rasp. Just as she was about to scream, she heard the impossible. A bark she hadn't heard in years. She heard it again and again. Snug. He had Molak's sense. Now trying to understand what could not be understood, she charged into the flag to finish what she started with her long lost friend. Jeez, these are some interesting characters. Like, these are some... Oh, that's cool. These are some intense... these are some...
That's it. Get ready.
These are some intense backstories. And now... we gotta read all of this. I've been here for so long, but you know what? We're almost to the end, boys. Young Coconut. Common scent of blood add-on. Her first meal as a castaway, she shared it with her loyal companion. Increases the dog's chase run speed by 5%. Trainer's book. Some of the advice contained was in help strengthen their bond, increase hound sense duration by 35%. Sticky pitch, a vital commodity for keeping a ship in tip-top shape, increases the Houndmaster's bonus in movement speed gained while running on the surge path by 2%. Creature's bone. It was unlike anything she'd ever seen, and the marrow in its bone was delectable. The dog's stun duration is reduced by 50%. Spyglass. Used to spot what one is looking for, no matter how far away. When Hound sense duration ends, the shark's aura is revealed for 3 seconds. Smoked snapper. A protein-packed foodstuff preserved to ensure its quality over long expeditions. Power cooldown is reduced by 5%. Knotted rope. The dog's jaws tightened around the makeshift toy, and he thrashed it back and forth. Reduced the cooldown of basic attacks against survivors injured, while the dogs grab by 5%. Belaying pins. Ideal for holding ropes, securing knots, and rigging sails. Survivors revealed by killer instinct when entering the hound sense radius also became oblivious for 20 seconds. Barley meat. The key ingredient for a bland but reinvigorating porridge, increases the dog's initial chase distance by 1%. Water skin. She gave him the last of her water, knowing he needed to shrink the hunt. Increases the dog's chase redirect distance by 20%. Unfinished map. Features details on the areas that would come to be known as the Bermuda Triangle. Survivors revealed by killer instinct when entering the hound sense radius also become exhausted for 15 seconds. training bell. Even over great distances, it will notify a dog exactly where their owner is. When the dog is stunned, the responsible survivor's aura is revoked for 5 seconds. Spiked collar, a dangerous accessory worn by dogs sent to battle. Survivors injured while the dog's grabs suffer from mingling and hemorrhage for 4 to 5 seconds. Fatty meat, a strange and irresistible treat for a canine friend, and survivors who are detected periodically scream without notifying the hound master every 15 seconds. Sharp figurehead, a trophy torn from the bow of another ship. While the dog is following the hound master, Terrius is increased by 8 meters. While the dog is away from the hound master, Terrius is reduced by 8 meters. Marlin Spike, as good for unsplicing rope as it is for causing grievous bodily harm. Survivors within 20 meters of the dog become afflicted with hound sense when a dog grab starts. Letter harness allows greater control over a dog's every movement. Increases the dog's chase speed by 20% for 40 seconds after a generator is repaired. This one